Hello. So it is, I believe it's either the 8th or the 7th. It is sunny as all out. And I just wasted like $26 on a Presto that fell out of my pocket, which was absolutely disrespectful on my part. I should have been way more careful with my money. But someone really close to me told me to start vlogging more, which was very weird for her, especially considering she doesn't normally go on the internet. She only really goes on the internet for Facebook. But, so I need to move because I'm currently in an area with what I believe is a tick. That is very unfortunate. I highly doubt anyone would prick me, even a tick, but... Oh, it's making its way over to the camera, that's cute. So, hi. My name is Victoria Christina McMullen. And I haven't made like a proper episodic video or a vlog or anything since probably 2019. The last videos I've made have been based in fear and knowledge. What sucks is I'm actually surrounded by a very cute little spot. So there's a very cute little grove full of... Did I flip the tick off? I did. And then right next to this beautiful little grove is just construction. Also, this is the Serval area. It's actually debris. It's not that bad. The Ottawa air is actually horrible for you. You should not live here if you need an oxygen tank. The only reason why you should live here if you need an oxygen tank is to collect a very good one, because most of the time our healthcare system will provide, especially if you're in Ottawa, but go to Alberta if you really need the greatest medical supply. There is, say Perfect. I keep trying to leave there to go, but it's a little difficult because I don't own a vehicle. My vehicle is my own 2 feet. Or whatever, public transportation. I have, however, been getting into Islam, and I've been newly converted for about 3 years, which is not very long. I kind of started converting when I first started talking to my friend about well, she wanted to at one point leave, and I wasn't the one who convinced her to stay. It was her own faith, but she really opened my eyes to the pros and cons, right? And at the time, right, when I was talking to her in 2019, I had just opened up the Quran for the first time, and I had found my own problems with it. But then I was told that it's actually well educated to have problems with the Quran because it is outdated for a lot of its basics. So basically, from chapter 1 to chapter 4 is mostly just outdated theology that, the forefathers of Islam created, and has nothing to do with our modern times besides moralistically, right? Um, which was really relieving, especially since I was quite mad at this one verse where it states that if you deny your mother and father, that is a sin unto you. Which, when I was reading, I had just gotten out of an abusive partnership with my parents, and I'm still currently entwined into it, uh, quite vastly, actually. It's not really good. It, sucks tremendously. But none of that had anything to do with me, actually. It more had to do with my parents' sin. So, when I had read that verse, it was just a lot of insecurities. Because socially in Canada, when your parents disown you or they have you placed somewhere, if they're still making sure that you're living and breathing, uh, it's still considered the bare minimum for here. But that should not be the bare minimum. That should be baseline. That should be just like the the standard of the start of what you do. And my parents, they barely meet that standard. So when I had originally read that and knowing that they had, disowned me in their soul, right? Like they don't recognize me as a child unless they have to legally. Um, the only time they do is if I have some sort of accomplishment that they can be part of, right? So when I had read that, it was all my insecurities that I was mad at, and not actually, the Quran itself. Because earlier in the Quran, and later actually, more so later, uh, it talks about the individualism of sin, which I have been learning on the internet. Art. That's as much as I know, honestly. I do have a book for it. It was bought in to me by a friend, and it's honestly been my lifesaver when going in and out of hospital because my family, my biological family, they have this really bad habit of being able to acquire their connections to put me into hospital unlawfully, which I'm sure my physician is pretty like half par on because she knows that if I'm in there, I'll try to make the most of it. Like last time, the last two times I was there, I had helped out in one of the So in my first visit to psych, right, one of the group activities that they had was psychotherapy, right, and they were not actually doing real psychotherapy. And myself, as someone who has a post-traumatic stress disorder diagnosis, was quite angry at the lack of accuracy, right? Um, because there are other people there with like Alzheimer's, dementia, and like depression, and all these other things that, you know, real psychotherapy would really benefit them. But the thing is, real psychotherapy starts with you and not the other person, right? The other person is just directing you. And you basically enact this in yourself, right? So the example that I had used is, think of your brain as like a system of alarms. The alarms in your brain that go off are all there for a reason, but some of them either turn off for false alarms, not that they weren't needed for the purpose, which is for you to be attentive, but also so that you can enact the change for those alarms, right? But when you have false alarms, part of the psychotherapy, especially for what I would use, right? So, for example, one of my triggers would be if someone would talk about, like, my family, especially back in 2019. If someone was to mention my family in 2019, I would just leave. I would exit the situation. I would not continue to talk to these people, or I would ask them to change the subject, right? Now, I have changed that alarm so that I don't leave, right? I don't leave if someone starts talking about my parents. If anything, I will get aggressive and prove my point, because throughout the 2 years where I would just leave the conversation, they had made it seem like they had done nothing wrong. So I currently have a little tiny ant friend. I don't know if he wants to be seen. I'm pretty sure he's camera shy because he keeps scooting away from the camera. There he is. Isn't he lovely? They. She's honestly exquisite. Hello, you. I don't know if they want to say hello to the camera. Oh, look at them. Oh, put them down. Anyway, so now, instead of, is right today. Now, instead of, you know, allowing people to, like, kind of push whatever reality they had hidden from the, like, into the sidelines, I now bring it up. Which, for some people, the people who love me have been good because they're able to recognize it and calm me down. But for the people who, you know, rather just have it be pushed aside, it's been really enlightening to their character. Because their character is full of falsehood if you're going to deny people the truth to their traumas, right? The second you deny someone the truth to their traumas, the alarm is immediately disvalued. It's like when you hear cop sirens in a very heavily populated area that's like constantly being controlled. You're not going to care about the cop sirens, right? You're just going to be like, oh, who got shot this time? Did someone, like, what happened this time, right? So instead of, like, holding the value that there are cop sirens going off, you're dismissing it because of, you know, the usualness of how you perceive that situation, right? So since these people were so used to the situation that my parents had caused, and they had, you know, just become complacent with it, they no longer cared about it. They were just like, oh, another siren. There we go. Beautiful. They didn't care. And, you know, a lot of psychotherapy is assisting apathy, right? So when you go into psychotherapy with an actual psychotherapist, right, a lot of the times they will try to prohibit you from being apathetic to your situations. They'll continuously try to bombard you in order to turn on these sirens. Hello. so that you can continue to heal from these things and have these sirens have different effects, right? So, like when you're in a hospital and there's an alarm, the different codes, they have different procedures after each of the alarms, right? So, what the psychotherapist will try to do is they will try to change the precautions you take after the alarms. So the alarm that used to be for me shutting down and walking away is now the alarm for me standing my ground and telling people what the hell is up and reminding them that there is a cop siren for a reason, and that is because there is danger. uh, which is hilarious, seeing as how I need to go back to my apartment, which puts me straight back into that situation. I'm gonna go try to buy some food because I'm starving. And I realize that I don't actually look into the cameras when I do this. I stare at myself because I have so much anxiety about what I look like, especially when I try to appear in anything that's not masculine clothing. Because I'm not used to it anymore. I used to be very used to it because I'm biologically female, but now I just kind of can't. Not without like some practice. Food's definitely a necessity before 6 o'clock, which is soon.